WWE building WrestleMania 31 around The Rock and Sting, and how does Triple H fit into that equation? Plus, why part-timers are pivotal to the up-and-coming talent, and of course, that disease that WWE Creative has. I'll tell you a little bit about SRS in this week's Sharpshoot. Keep it locked. This is the Sharpshoot with AuSSy.
Sharpshoot with AuSSy is brought to you in part by TRN, the Talking Wrestling Network. Subscribe on YouTube today. And by RopeBreakWrestling.com. Get out of the bleachers and get in the ring.
What's going on, WWE fans and rope breakers alike, and welcome to another edition of the Sharpshoot with AuSSy. This week we've got a packed show for you. A lot of news, a lot of rumors swirling around the WWE. And yes, I said it like Michael Cole, WWE. Anyways, let's get right into it. This week we've got a top rumor coming out about WrestleMania 31 and the potential build. Now, it seems that they're trying to build the show around The Rock and Sting, both potentially having a match. The interesting part here is who those matches could be against. It has been said that Sting has wanted a match with Undertaker, and if he couldn't get a match with Undertaker, he listed Triple H as his next best thing. Well, Triple H might already be booked, and that's in a match with The Rock. A lot of reports are going around, starting yesterday, that Triple H and The Rock are set to go at it at WrestleMania 31. I'm not necessarily sure I see the correlation quite yet, but then again, depending on when The Rock comes back for that final feud, this match could make a lot of sense and could be very interesting. I proposed this idea on Rope Break Wrestling's Facebook page. Wouldn't it be pretty sweet if we finally saw the return of Shane and Vince out to help The Rock beat Triple H at WrestleMania 31? That could lead to a power struggle storyline immediately following WrestleMania, but hey, that's just me fantasy booking, and as we know, they don't use half of the stuff that I throw out there, so, maybe it's because of the SRS, and we'll get into that disease that the creative team has in our Sharpshoot this week. The interesting part here is Sting, though, because like we said, he has come out and said publicly that he wants a match with either The Undertaker or Triple H. This is intriguing because with Triple H possibly booked with The Rock, one would think that The Undertaker would be ready to go toe-to-toe with Sting, but not quite yet. Don't forget about the little wrench in that plan that Bray Wyatt threw last week when he tweeted out, and we had the tweet last week on last week's edition of the Sharpshoot, so if you haven't checked it out, go back and check it out. But Bray Wyatt kind of calling Sting out using Scorpion loosely, and wouldn't it be quite a match to see Sting versus Bray Wyatt? That remains to be seen, and we wouldn't know if Sting would even be open to that match yet. So it seems like right now the potential suitors for a match with Sting would only be Taker and Bray Wyatt, but again, that remains to be seen. More news involving WrestleMania season. The final Big Four pay-per-view before WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, is a lot of buzz surrounding the Royal Rumble this upcoming year, for good reason too. It's been reported that we could possibly see a 40-man Rumble again, and I'm all for this. Definitely in favor of the 40-man Rumble. Yes, it's a little quicker, it's a little longer, and it's quite hectic, but that's what the Royal Rumble's all about. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm all about as many cameo appearances as we can get here. Maybe Jamie Noble gets in the Royal Rumble this year. Maybe Joey Mercury, you never know. What I do know is I expect two guys to be in that Royal Rumble, and that is Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. In the past, it's been a good avenue for them to bring up incoming talent in to debut at the Royal Rumble. Most recently, Rusev last year at the Royal Rumble. He kind of made his first appearance there, was kind of dudded off for a few weeks after that, but that was his official first appearance there. And we could see a guy like Sami Zayn, or like Adrian Neville, or maybe Finn Balor, or Kenta, a.k.a. whatever the hell his name is, Hideo Itami, whatever, Baloney, Jabroni. Who really cares? Jabroni, you care about what Hideo Itami's name is? That me either. Anyways, 40-man Rumble, I'm all for this. But I really am interested because I haven't really gotten the pulse on the rest of the WWE universe on this. I'm interested to know what you guys think about the 40-man Rumble. Maybe we see Del Rio return for that match. No, I'm just playing. But seriously, I want to know what you guys think about the 40-man Rumble. So tweet me at I am AuSSy, at Rope Break Wrestling, at Talking Wrestling. Use the hashtag Sharpshoot and let me know what you think about the 40-man Royal Rumble. That brings us to this week's WWE Network Pick of the Week. And I'm going to keep it simple for you guys this week. King of the Ring 1998. And you're saying, why? Very simple. We've got Hell in a Cell coming up, and if you haven't checked out, or even if you have, you need to go revisit the Hell in a Cell match, and that is The Undertaker versus Mankind, aka Mick Foley, at King of the Ring 1998. Of course, that is the infamous match where Mick Foley is thrown off of the Hell in the Cell and is thrown through the Hell in the Cell. At one point, has a tooth right here, about in his nostril. Yes, very good match. If you're a young Todd and you haven't seen that match, you absolutely need to go check it out before you see these upcoming Hell in a Cell matches at Hell in a Cell. And really, if you're a fan like me and you've seen this match on numerous occasions, you need to go back and check it out again. Why? Maybe you had a tough day at work. Maybe the wife, the missus, just won't get out of your ear. You got crying kids all over the place. Take a deep breath. That WWE Network Pick of the Week, King of the Ring 1998, Undertaker versus Mankind. Go check it out. It's that time of the show. It's true. It's true. Yes, influenced by the great Kurt Angle, who hopefully he'll return in this year's 40-man Royal Rumble. Who knows? I'm just saying. I think he did say something about not returning to the ring until something like January. It's possible. It's possible, folks. Anyways, this week's It's True revolves around a part-timer, because our show is kind of revolving around part-timers this week around. And I know a lot of haters out there talking about how AuSSy loves the part-timers. He's living in the past. He's an attitude era mark. It really doesn't matter what you think, jabroni, because all I'm doing is land straight knowledge and facts. And that's what I'm going to do about The Rock's most recent return this past Monday night on Raw. A lot of people pissed off about this. Can you believe this? People pissed off about The Rock returning. Now, we're seeing those memes where you've got the typical fat IWC guy sitting there bitching about The Rock holding the title in 2013 and then being happy about his return in 2014. Two different avenues there. I wasn't necessarily mad that The Rock held the strap anyways, though, so we'll leave that one. But what I want to say here is that there is a lot of benefit. There's a lot of benefiting going on by The Rock's return. And what a lot of people don't understand, a regular casual fan loves The Rock, whatever, and then you've got the IWC or the marks that don't really like the fact that The Rock's back, whether it be because it's for one day or because he laid this smackdown on Rusev. You've got to look deeper into this. What they call it in the wrestling business is a rub, and that's exactly what The Rock did for Rusev in a big way this past Monday night. When he laid the smackdown on Rusev, it did two things. It legitimized Rusev, number one, and that's because, one, The Rock knew his name. Just the fact that The Rock, who's been off of WWE TV for quite a while, even knows who the hell Rusev is, says a lot about Rusev. It means he's a legitimate character on the show. The Rock's been watching you. The Rock chose to call you out, and that legitimizes him right off the bat. Now, the fact that Rusev and Lana stood up to The Rock says even more about their character. Lana and Rusev both did an excellent job counterpointing The Rock. Rusev calling him an American piece of garbage, and Lana, of course, using her whole spiel. Obviously, The Rock coming back does a lot for ratings, and it's not a full-time gig. Don't expect to see The Rock on Raw again next week. It's just not going to happen. But to say that it's useless and it's stupid for him to come back really shows a shallow viewpoint on the business. It's very good for a guy like The Rock to come back and rub Rusev that way so that people say, oh, he must be something to look out for because The Rock had something to say to him. The Rock doesn't just come and address Los Matadores. The Rock came and addressed Rusev. That legitimizes Rusev there much more so than a feud with Mark Henry or the Big Show could have done. And that's one of the many reasons why part-timers can be pivotal if it's the right part-timer. I'm not saying that if RVD did this, it would have been good for Rusev, but The Rock, a megastar. Him being part-time helps the business a lot, much more so than him not being on TV at all. If it's once every year, so be it. Him coming back, making a mark on the show makes a big deal. Like it or not, it's true.
It's damn true.
On the stage! Oh my God, I always think Edge is going to show up when I hear that theme music. I don't know why. This is like the third week that we've done this segment, and I'm still expecting it. What the hell are you laughing at? You were expecting Edge to come out too. Wouldn't you expect Edge to come? This is an awesome podcast. I've invited Edge to come on the show multiple times. You don't think this show's worthy of Edge? Just wait. One day, he will be on this show. Either way, this week's On This Day revolves around October 9th, 1967. Can you guess what happened that day? You guessed it. Eddie Guerrero was born, and thank goodness. Now, if Eddie were still alive today, he would be 47. Happy birthday, Eddie. We still miss you. We think about you all the time. Eddie Guerrero, one of the all-time greats in the ring, on the mic, just an all-around excellent talent, great character, one of the best of all time, hands down, regardless of what anybody says. If anybody says otherwise, lay the smack down on their candy ass. Seriously, though. What I want to know, in honor of Eddie Guerrero, in honor of his 47th, or what would have been his 47th birthday today, I want you guys to tweet to us your favorite Eddie Guerrero moment of all time.
How do you like me now?
Right about now, you're contemplating turning off the show, and I understand, because every week around this time, I'm talking a little something about How Do You Like Me Now? And every week on How Do You Like Me Now, you know that AuSSy's got some shit to say that doesn't make any sense, and I don't really care or agree with anything that he says during the How Do You Like Me Now segments. Well, this week, I can guarantee that you'll be on my side of this week's How Do You Like Me Now? Why? Because I'm talking about celebrity guest hosts. Yeah, I love them. Don't you guys? No, I'm just fucking with you. Seriously though, I'm talking about celebrity guest hosts this week. Why? Because we're sick of it. And honestly, I really don't even need to say any more than that. But let's be honest with ourselves here. Kathy Lee and Hoda, you gotta be kidding me. Then the week after, Todd Chrisley and whatever the hell her name is from Real Housewives, whatever the fuck city it is. Are you kidding me? This is an absolute disgrace and a joke and a slap in the face. Seriously, a slap in the face to all wrestling fans around the world. Now, I know the E in WWE stands for entertainment, but that gives them zero right to go ahead and just book these jackasses for WWE shows. Did you know, and I'm sure you did, if you read dirt sheets, if you listen to Rope Break React after Monday Night Raw, I was there and I had a little something to say to Kathy Lee, who talks some shit in her book about ravishing Rick Rude and the Bushwhackers. Yet WWE still reaches a hand out and invites her to sip wine in the middle of the ring on Monday Night Raw. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. And it's stupid. That's really all I have to say about it. But then again, I've got more to say. Because week after week, you're going to continue to bring these jackass hosts on for no reason other than to promote their bullshit shows that wrestling fans are not interested in? It makes no sense. If you look back at some of the great guest hosts of all time, we're talking Arnold Schwarzenegger, other celebrity appearances, Pete Rose, Mike Tyson. You know what they have in common? They're crossovers. WWE fans actually like Terminator. WWE fans actually like boxing and guys that can whip people's asses. So that's why they liked Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mike Tyson. You throw Pete Rose in there, who the hell doesn't love baseball? But seriously, now you're going to bring reality TV stars from shows that WWE fans do not give a shit about. If we're not watching their show already, what makes you think them coming on to our show is going to make us watch their show? It's not. We're not going to watch this show. Why? Because it's stupid and we don't like the guest host. And if you keep the shit up, we're not going to watch your show either. So, WWE bookers and fans of celebrity guest hosts, how do you like me now?
How do you like me now?
This week's Sharpshoot surrounds the disease that is sweeping WWE creative faster than Ebola is getting into the US. What am I talking about? Of course, I'm talking about that deadly SRS, Shitty Raw Syndrome. Why am I talking about Shitty Raw Syndrome? It's an epidemic and it's running wild the past few weeks in the WWE creative team. What a bunch of absolute idiots. The only thing I can think, the only excuse I can come up with is that they're all stricken with a deadly disease and they cannot write or use their brain properly. Because honestly, before The Rock showed up, that might have been one of the top 5, maybe top 3 worst episodes of Raw I've ever seen in my life. And if I see Hornswoggle dressed as an alligator more than 5 more times crawl out through the Titantron, I might just off myself. And please, I don't want to do that. I love my life, but seriously, if I'm going to be forced to watch alligators and bulls who aren't even really alligators or bulls because they're midgets in costumes, and I can say midgets because I'm 5'4", either way, you're not tricking anybody. You're not tricking me with a guy in a bunny costume. I don't believe it. My 10-year-old brother doesn't believe it. His 10-year-old friends don't believe it. Their 4-year-old sisters don't believe it. Nobody believes it. Nobody believes the Easter Bunny is on Monday Night Raw. Nobody believes that an alligator is out there fighting a bull. I just don't. I mean, wrestling is supposed to capture a form of reality. We're supposed to be grabbed. We're supposed to believe some of the shit that's going on. That is when wrestling was at its all-time high, is when people were actually believing the shit that was going on. Remember when the NWO threw Rey Mysterio into a trailer like he was a dart? You believed that that was actually happening. Why do I say that you believe that? Somebody actually called the police when that happened. Somebody called the police because they thought a real gang violence, hate crime was going on outside in the Hollywood streets. That was when wrestling was at its peak. That was excellent booking. That was great writing. Remember when DX invaded WCW? That was real. It felt real. It was connecting with us. We actually believed it. Now you've got Gobbledygooker and the New Generation Part 2, and this shit is just not believable. Nobody believes in a honky-tonk man, Disco Inferno character like Fandango or Adam Rose or any of these animals characters. It's a bunch of bullshit, and honestly, it's leading to Shitty Raw Syndrome. Every single Raw has been shitty since SummerSlam, and really, I gave Raw a B- only because The Rock showed up and made me jump off my couch, and I can't give anything that makes me jump off my couch less than a B-. But seriously, next week The Rock's not going to be there, and it's going to be some serious, serious pain as far as the ratings go, unless they do something dramatic, because you're bringing in a couple of guest hosts that nobody gives a shit about, guaranteed to have a couple of animals that nobody gives a shit about that aren't even really animals on the show. Meanwhile, you've got good talent being thrown and jammed into certain matches, like 6-man tags with good talent like, Cesaro, Ziggler, the Usos, Stardust and Goldust. Let's just fucking throw them all into one match. That way we have time for our bullshit match later on in the show. It makes 0 sense to me, and it's extremely frustrating and infuriating why you would split those 2 matches up and get rid of the alligator match. Why would you have Big E Langston, Xavier Woods, and that crew backstage doing shit on the WWE app instead of them being on Raw? There's absolutely no excuse for it other than the WWE creative team is failing and they suck ass. Go on and take a look at the WWE creative team, what it takes, what they're looking for in that role. Because to be perfectly honest with you, that would be a dream job of mine, as I know it would be for most of you guys that are watching this show. Wouldn't you love to book a Raw the way you want to? Yes, I know all of us internet wrestling fans would, but seriously, the credentials they're looking for are people that have written script for reality TV. Yes, we're looking to make it real, but you know what the furthest thing from reality is? Reality TV. I can't really say it any much clearer than that. If you turn on Total Divas, you can tell the whole shit is totally scripted. It's not believable at all. It doesn't get me, in the mood for anything. You turn on Raw, you're thinking the same thing. Because none of the shit makes sense. None of it seems realistic. It's a snore fest. When Stone Cold Steve Austin's coming out, smashing beers, kicking his boss's ass, you're like, yeah, I relate to that. I can believe in that. I can get behind that. And I'm not necessarily an Attitude Era mark, but let's face it, writing in the Attitude Era was much better. I know it's a little bit overrated because, yes, Mae Young gave birth to a hand. Every era has their shitty segments here and there, but let's face it, every single Monday night on Raw, it's shitty segment after shitty segment after shitty match after shitty segment. I can't even. It's like a tongue twister. So much shit involved. I'm sick and tired of it. I know I've babbled on here, but really, you got to speak your piece on it, and you guys got to speak your piece on it too. Comment below. Tell me what particularly you're fed up with, or if you love the petting zoo that's going on in the middle of Raw every single week, tell me that you enjoy that, and I will lay it the smacketh down on you in the comments section. Otherwise, tweet me at I am AuSSy, at Rope Break Wrestling, or at Talkin' Wrestling. That's this week's Sharpshooting. That's this week's show. Thank you guys for tuning in to another week. Cannot believe you made it through the whole show, but I thank you for putting up and tolerating me for the entire however long the show was. We try to keep it within 30 minutes. We normally do. Sometimes it's a little short based on what I want to talk about. This week I had a little bit of fire behind the sharpshoot, and we did what we had to do. If you guys have a topic you want to see me address on next week's episode, please, again, tweet me. The shit's right below you. If you don't follow all three of these Twitter handles, Jesus, somebody help you. Just like the WWE Creative, you might have SRS, Shitty Raw Syndrome. You don't want that. Anyways, before I babble on any longer, it's been an excellent show. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. We will catch you next week on the Sharpshoot with AuSSy. Until then, you smell what the AuSSy's cooking.
Sharpshoot with AuSSy is brought to you in part by TRN, the Talking Wrestling Network. Subscribe on YouTube today. And by RopeBreakWrestling.com. Get out of the bleachers and get in the ring.